Hi, my name is Tatiana and my channel is Created by Lady T, and in this channel I talk about quilting, sewing, and crochet, and I give product reviews, demonstrations, sew-alongs, quilt-alongs, and crochet-alongs. So today I'm going to talk about how I started crocheting and where I learned how to crochet. So crochet was something I always wanted to learn as a child. I always was really fascinated because I'd go to people's homes and they had these really nice Afghans that were crocheted, some of them using the little blocks, the granny square blocks. Some of them had really long blankets that looked like chevrons. And it was always something that I wanted to learn. My mother was not really big on me doing anything that was related to needle arts. She didn't want me to learn to sew. She didn't want me to learn to knit, and she didn't want me to learn to crochet. So it was something she was really, really adamantly against me doing. She wanted me to pursue academic interest and to read and go to the library. So for many years, I did listen to her. And I avoided anything to do with the needle arts. I never took any classes or lessons. And actually, during my era of my childhood, there wasn't really much to get that kind of information. I do remember as a child going to the library, and I'd go through the needle arts section, and I'd find all these wonderful books on crochet and sewing and quilting. And I would just be fascinated by them and look at the pictures and, just take in all the beauty of the different types of Afghans or the different types of projects that you can make with needle arts. However, I never really pursued anything, yada, yada, yada. I went to high school, college, got my degree, got 2 master's degrees, and then I got married, and living with my husband at the time, I had a lot of freedom, and I was able to, be by myself at home and think about what I wanted to do. So in the early 90s or mid 90s, Vanna White came, there was an advertisement in something that I found where there was a month club, and it was sponsored by Vanna White, where you would get a bunch of crochet patterns and you would get instructions on how to crochet. And it came in a notebook like this, except this is not my original notebook. I had to switch it. And the cover, I don't have the cover of it, but because the notebook just died on me, but I have mine. I replaced it with the same size notebook that I had, but it came with a whole selection of how to crochet, single crochet, double crochet, triple crochet, and every month you would get a variety of patterns. So the book came with these index cards of the different types of projects you would get. So they have things, they had a newsletter that came every month. They had a section called Timeless Treasures, where you would make stuff for around the house, dolls and toys for the baby, rugs and pillows, Afghan favorites, bazaar seller favorites, wonderful wearables, and Christmas traditions. And so you got all these wonderful little patterns. So they came in the different index cards. So every month you would get like the variety, 1 card each of the variety of the patterns. So I kind of taught myself to crochet by ordering these, and there was a whole section on how to start crocheting, and at the time I think it was Joanne that I went to. I got some crochet hooks. I read about crochet hooks, and these instructions in the Vanna White books were very easy to read and very accessible for even a novice and a beginner. So I just followed the instructions and I started making patterns, following patterns, and I started making things. As a matter of fact, I don't really have anything that I've made because I've given them out as gifts. I rarely keep my own crochet projects. I make them and I admire my work and I look at them and then I give them away. I either give them for people who are having babies, or I save them for Christmas presents, or I donate them. I had for a little while a little nonprofit where it was called Somebody Loves You, and I would give away scarves and hats to people in need, homeless people, or people who were recovering from drug addiction, or people who were in need, you know, had cancer or had some other type of illness. I would donate them. And so I really rarely keep any of my own personal crochet projects. But I started making these things, and I remember, some of the things that I did is I practiced on making, like, there's an American bear. I made a bunch of these for little kids at the time, and I was teaching kindergarten in those days. So I made these for the kids, and they had a Jenny with bear like this. I remember making a lot of these toys, and the nice thing is that it keeps you entertained, and the instructions are really easy to follow. So it wasn't really hard to do. I remember making this happy sad toy for the kids when I taught kindergarten many years ago. I don't do that anymore, but I made this happy sad toy, which was really fun for the kids because it had a happy face and a sad face. And I would ask them, are you happy or sad? And they would pass around this toy. So I used a lot of these toys for the kids at the time. But then I also made a lot of projects from the Timeless Treasures, and I would make, I made this ruffle shawl, and I also made the lacy throw here, this lacy throw, and I would give these away to people's birthday presents, or I would give them for wedding gifts. And I really enjoyed doing this, and you can't get these anymore, these patterns. This was like a month club, and I don't remember if how it ended, but it ended. It was many years ago. But I really learned to crochet just by participating in this. And I'm sure somebody is selling this on eBay. And if you can find the Vanna White collection of her patterns from these pattern books with the original notebook, I would really take advantage of it if you can find it, because it's really cool. I've seen Vanna White crochet backstage on television and on YouTube, and it's kind of fun to watch her really crochet, and that, you know, she's not really, she's genuine about it. She really knows how to crochet. She has a love for it. And her books, there's other books that Vanna White wrote, and there's patterns in those as well. So I thought, you know, I wanted to share this with you all, so that some of you may not know how to crochet and you always wanted to learn to crochet. Of course, today we have YouTube, and YouTube is really great because you can learn a lot of crochet techniques on YouTube, and it's very accessible to everyone. However, I really think that for many people, even though YouTube is very visual and they give good demonstrations, if you're a kinesthetic learner, YouTube can really help you because you can try it out and rewind the video. But if you're a visual learner, you need some kind of concrete instructions. I would definitely get a book. So for people who don't have a book or some sort of instructions, so for me it was Vanna White. For you it could be somebody else. And look at how to do double and single crochet if you're new. Holding the crochet needle, it takes a bit of practice, and we all have different ways that we hold the crochet needle. And if you're a new crocheter and you're a beginner, you're either putting the knots too tight or too loose. And I remember going through that process where I would make something and it wouldn't look exactly the way I thought it would look, and I would have to redo it and try it again. Now, when I was crocheting, there was no YouTube, so I couldn't actually watch a demo of it. But I think even today with YouTube, it's kind of still hard to learn without actually seeing instructions and getting to know instructions. And after that, my crocheting just took off. I did all of these patterns, and then I bought more pattern books, and I did more patterns and more projects, and it just grew and flourished, and I gave more gifts, and I was able to do so much with the skill of crochet. I actually teach little kids to crochet. When I taught kindergarten, I also had a summer camp, and I would teach kids I had a little crochet classes, and we would use the plastic crochet needles, and I would teach them how to crochet so they can make bookmarks or something very easy, a shawl for their mom or a scarf, something that is accessible, easy, fun. Crocheting is not very difficult, and you really can teach yourself to crochet. And with the addition of the help of the YouTube, you can watch as well. But I think the actual skill takes a lot of practice, and especially finding your sweet spot, finding the right crochet hooks, and finding the right type of yarn that goes with the crochet hooks. So these are all things I think you need to read and look at closely, not just watch on YouTube. And so for me, it was the Vanna White collection, because there was, and reading her the newsletters that come every month, and it gave like little tidbits on how to put these projects together, and materials that you need, and what kind of fabric you need, what kind of yarn you need. So this was really a very informative newsletters, and it would have a picture of Vanna White on there, and it was really kind of cool to get all this information. And I learned so much from these instructions and how to crochet. And I still think that there's probably a lot of new books out there, if you can't find these, that it's a great way, if there's a newsletter or something that comes in. A lot of people, what they do is they buy those Crochet of the Month Club boxes, where it comes with a little bit of instructions, maybe the pattern, and they send you some yarn, and it comes in a box, maybe with a crochet needle as well. I really don't think those are very helpful for beginners, because if you don't know the skill, you're not just going to be able to pick it up from a Crochet of the Month box. You need somebody to explain how to do things, and you need someone to show you or explain to you the different ways to read patterns and the different ways to use the materials, and how to put together your work. So if you are new to crocheting and you really want to crochet well, I really suggest that you find some sort of group, but there's very little activity going on with help groups. A crocheting group, a meetup group that does crochet, but sometimes they don't want to teach people how to crochet. It's just a bunch of crocheters that get together and mix their ideas. So if you're new to crocheting, you might want to look for this Vanna White collection on eBay. I'm sure eBay or some other Etsy, someplace, somebody's giving it away or selling it. You might be able to even find these at rummage sales, because they're no longer in publication. But I really feel like Vanna White taught me to crochet, And during those months where I got the crochet pattern and the newsletter, and I would sit and work with it, and even though I was by myself and nobody was there to check me, I had to work at it, and I figured it out, and it was really kind of cool to do that. So you know, that's one avenue for you. If you're interested in learning, you might want to pick up this collection, or somebody else who has a book. Your local library, I'm sure, has some crochet books and how to crochet books as well. Yarn is fairly cheap. If money is an issue for you, you could pretty much get yarn at places as cheap as the Dollar Tree, or you could get yarn from a secondhand used shop like a Goodwill. Sometimes Goodwills have crochet books as well, old crochet hooks. So be on the lookout for those if you don't have a lot of money to spend, or you could go to Joann and use your coupons, or some other retailer like Michael's. There's also Hobby Lobby, and they have coupons and you could get them fairly cheap. Yarn is not that expensive. Crochet hooks are not that expensive. This is not an expensive hobby. It can get expensive with the books and if you're in a club like this, but I don't think this club was that expensive at the time. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but it was just like the recipe cards that would come every month for some people. This was that kind of idea. Of course, this was the 1990s, so things have changed since then, and I know that. But this is how I started, and I wanted to share that with you. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and put in the comments, who taught you to crochet? Was it a grandmother? Was it a family member? Or are you still looking for somebody to teach you to crochet? Or is YouTube enough for you? So I'd really like to hear what you have to say. Subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up. This is Tatiana from Created by Lady T, and that was my video for today, and I'll be back maybe with another crochet pattern for you all to follow.